The Kawa Model, Application and Alternative Metaphor for Life by Carrie Tracy. The Kawa Model is an occupational therapy model of practice. With a plethora of Western models available, Eastern nations such as Japan have long felt dissonance between their own values and those of the profession. The creation of the Japanese model in 2000 has answered this call and not only filled in the gaps from an Eastern perspective, but is so efficient and adaptable it speaks to all walks of life. Using the metaphor of a river to portray life flow and its barriers that block this flow, the Kawa is easily understood and culturally relevant to all. Within this flexible model of practice, an occupational therapist has the role of positioning themselves along the river to assist the client in breaking down barriers to better their life. The river, beginning to end, represents the client's life from birth to death. The water represents life flow, rocks are problems, driftwood are assets and liabilities, the river walls and bottom represent the physical and social environment, and the spaces in between these barriers represent where the client still has life flow and is an important point for intervention. There are 6 steps to the application of the Kawa model: appreciating the client in context, clarifying the context, prioritizing issues according to the client's perspective, assessing focal points of occupational therapy intervention, and finally, intervention and evaluation.
So the thing that's really important to know about me is that I'm a painter, and I have to paint. And right now it's been really hard to paint. I'm not inspired, nothing inspires me. And I think part of the problem that I can't paint is that I have this, they call it hyperflexion. It's a pain in my wrist, and so it really hurts to push the brush against the paper. But also the problem, with inspiration is that I'm really alone right now. My husband, he left a month ago, and he complained that all I cared about was painting, and I didn't care about him, just the painting. But I'm a painter, I have to paint, and it's good because I have my studio still, and I have my supplies, and he left me with enough money that I can keep doing it, so that's good. But I can't right now because of the pain, and because I can't. I look at the paper and there's nothing. And like I said, I'm really alone, and I don't really have family. Well, I have family. Okay, see, I have Asperger's, and so which means that I'm not good at communicating with people, and I have problems with social skills, and so I've tried to work on that, but I never tried very hard to talk with my family very much or have relationships, and so then they stopped trying too, and so now they're not around. I don't even know if they don't even know what's going on right now. So, and I don't really have any friends. I have my husband, and he's gone. So I'm alone, and I can't even paint.
Julie is a struggling artist with Asperger syndrome who has recently been informed that she needs surgery on her wrist as she has been experiencing hyperflexion and pain, limiting her ability to paint. She is worried she will no longer be able to paint because she cannot hold the paintbrush and put pressure on the canvas. A month ago, her husband left her. He claims she spent all of her efforts, sometimes perseverating, on her art and on their marriage. She was left with her studio and art supplies as well as half of her former husband's funds, allowing her to work unhindered financially for a few years. Despite this, Julie feels as though her art is a huge part of her life and who she is, and is determined to stick with it. She feels as though her husband should have been more supportive of her career. Her family has not spoken to her in years, and she has made no effort to stay in contact with them. Her disability with communication skills and aloofness has left her with no close friends, and Julie is feeling very alone and uninspired. She has expressed a desire to have more people in her life.
I'd like you to try and make a list of all your problems and all your assets so that we can break it down.
I think a problem is my wrist. I think a problem is no inspiration, and they mean I can't paint. I'm a good artist. I'm an artist. I have my resources. I have my studio and supplies and money. I care so much about my art, even if that's the reason my husband left me. And
Yes, you
'Cause
have
I'm-
determination.
Yes, it's my life.
Julie's list of problems and assets.
So I want you to break down the problems and your assets that you named and see if you can match them up with rocks, driftwood, and the walls and floor of a river.
Many times I tried to tell you, many times I cried alone. Always I'm surprised how well you cut my feelings to the bone. Don't wanna leave you really, I've invested too much time.
Intervention strategies set up for Julie to deal with her wrist injury and her feeling alone and uninspired due to her divorce are to attend an activity group on exercise and education of body mechanics to learn joint preservation approaches and techniques, and to coordinate with other team members such as nursing, psychology, and counselors to set up a series of family meetings to discuss family duties and roles in order to explore more avenues to deal with her disability experience. In order for Julie to maintain her art studio, we will establish a plan in which Julie can ensure financial stability to maintain her studio after the funds from her ex-husband dry up. As for her inability to paint with injury, we will adapt a way in which Julie will be able to engage in her art, which will fulfill her soul and allow her to be inspired. As for her lack of family and friends, we will teach social skills and roles in an attempt to reconnect Julie with her estranged family and teach communication skills to allow Julie to feel more confident so she can make friends. Julie has many assets that will help her through this difficult time. The intervention strategies set up for her are to establish a plan to budget her money to continue her financial situation as long as possible, to learn ways to maintain the integrity of her art supplies to make them last, to work on maintaining her determination to paint and learn ways to shift her determination to other aspects of her life, such as making friends and reconnecting with her family, and to maintain the unique qualities inherent in her Asperger's that have given her a talent for art. There are also intervention strategies set up to help Julie with her liabilities. They are to encourage interaction with her environment and people by teaching her ways to engage with others, to establish communication techniques and teach social roles within the community, to prevent her separation from impacting her life by redirecting Julie to engage in new activities, and to attend a social skills training support group which will encourage her to attend social situations. Julie's water continues to flow around her wrist injury, divorce, and lack of social environment, but her water is slowed due to her feeling uninspired in the most important occupation of her life and her feelings of aloneness due to her lack of communication and social skills. To increase her flow, we will use her assets and abilities to work at decreasing her problems and liabilities. We will encourage and provide positive feedback and involve other members of her support network as much as possible. Potential occupational therapy treatment approaches and points of intervention are seen in the channels between Julie's issues. Avenues to explore would be increasing her social skills to build up a support by reconnecting with family and making new friends, and finding ways to adapt Julie's art to allow her to participate in this occupation, which will help her feel inspired. The final steps to the application of the Kawa model are the intervention and evaluation. And now, an alternative metaphor for the river. Metaphors are best understood when they are presently tangible. The river is an excellent metaphor, but in urban settings they are difficult to come by. A window is easily accessible in most environments. There are many comparisons between the river and window metaphor. Mado, Japanese for window, represents an enlightened life. The goal is to have a bright, wide, long, unimpeded shine of light. The window is an opening or a portal to the soul, which allows for a two-way interaction between the client and the environment. Light represents cleansing, purity, and revelation. Trees are solid, difficult to move, and block the light. Curtains can either shut out the light or let more in. The window frame confines the window and determines how much light can shine through. And the window pane is where light can still shine between all the other barriers. Very similar to the Kawa model and the metaphor for a river.